Today I will show you how to draw eyes, so if your drawings look like this, girl, I got you.
Oh god, I'm scared!
You're in the right place. Today I will show you how to draw eyes and more. Because after all, what's the point of drawing beautiful eyes, perfect shading, if you don't know how to place the eyes correctly on the face? So that's exactly what we're gonna learn today. So starting, the most important thing are the proportions, and without them your drawing won't be good, so take time to make them correctly. It doesn't matter if you draw from the photo or from real life, it's just so important. So learning them will be the easiest on the person looking straight forward, because then you can see the proportions without any perspective. So of course every person is different, but we assume that the distance between the eyes are one eye in the middle. So this is very important because most of the people starting out make the eyes too close to each other or too far away, so keeping the distance of one eye in the middle will solve that problem immediately. So this is the face we're gonna draw. I already prepared this square in which we're gonna draw just the eyes and skin around it, and I start with the grid. This grid is really important and we're gonna do those proportions I was talking about. So one square for the one eye, the space between the eyes is also one eye, and at the end is the second eye. And now we're gonna do the squares, which tells us how big the eye should be, like how high it is. So I've checked on the photo and it's 2 times wider than higher, so it's proportion 2 to 1. The other one is that the edge of the eye and the end of your head without the hair should be one eye. So for example, if I do this, of course it's not like this, but if you imagine the face without the hair, is the one eye, and this is basic proportion. Of course every person is different and we're gonna try to vary it when we learn the basics, so then we can just experiment and try different proportion, but this is something you should master and then you can move on. Some may say that drawing this way is stupid, like why would I draw something you can see later on because it's covered by hair? Well, you can see it because it's the bone structure, and looking at the drawing I just can't see if someone understands why your face looks like this or not. So then you can see it in shading, in everything. But back to the drawing of the eye. Okay, so I've just drew the almost shape of the eye, and what is really important to not make the iris too big. It should not touch the lower part of the skin under the eye. I don't know how to explain this differently, but this is really important because most people do it huge, like half of the eye, and it's not like this. And I quickly do the other eye. And now, after I black out every shape, I am going straight to the shading and drawing the main part of the eye, so pupil of the eye, and I really like to start drawing with it. I am taking softer pencil and I just draw this darker circle. And now look, I am being very conservative with where I put this darker shade because I don't want black everywhere. I just put it in the places where I know the shadow should be the darkest. Then I take super hard H something pencil and I smudge everything very lightly. I can't do any damage with it, that's why I chose those kind of pencils, and now it is looking super realistic already. What I like to do, this is the tip from me, because I've learned that if I blur the edges of the iris, everything looks much more realistic. You can see the eye doesn't have really strict edge, it is not sharp, it's actually blurry, so that's what I am mimicking. And yeah, I am just juggling around between 4B, 4H and 2B. 2B is my comfort pencil. It's just so good. It's not too soft, not too dark. So I am really liking using it. And yeah, it's already looking very good. I am now doing the skin around it because I don't want it to look like sticker. I want it to look like a full drawing. So yeah, now I am doing the same exact thing on the other side. I start a little bit differently. I don't know why actually, but yeah, I just put darker shade everywhere because she is of a darker tone skin, so I try to mimic that with the gray pencil. I'm just saying that because drawing darker skin is a bit more tricky than drawing white skin, and yeah, I'm just putting it out there. What I also like to do is to make everything dark, like cover everything with pencil. Doesn't matter if it's H something or B or whatever. I am doing the skin and I'm not really thinking about leaving white places where they should be, you know. I left the highlight but in the eye, but that's it. And then I just go back with the eraser and I erase all the highlights or lighter spots, and that's why I'm changing the pencil really often, because if I drew everything with this H something pencil, H4, I wouldn't be able to erase it. That's why I use a lot of different pencils, because they're really good for many different things. So yeah, right now I've just erased it and it's looking much better, like more three-dimensional. Right now I can see it because I watched the footage. The camera was a little bit tilted because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see what I'm drawing, and that's why the left eye looks a little bit bigger, but like when I'm looking at it right now, it's looking completely perfect. One more thing I want to bring attention to is the eyelids. They are not twins, they're sisters. So you can see that the one on the right is bigger, like higher than the one on the left, and this is completely normal. My eyes also do this, so this is not something like completely wrong. You don't have to be super focused on making everything super symmetrical. They can be a little bit different. The most important thing is to have iris on both eyes at correct spot, because otherwise it looks very weird. So, okay, when we draw the actual eye, when we talk about eyelashes, for example, right now you probably can't see my lashes, or you can see, but just a little bit. And this is important to note, that when we draw people who are more far away, we tend to not draw the eyelashes at all. We just shade the skin around them, or if someone has a makeup, maybe just make the eye a little bit darker on the edges, but try to not draw eyelashes too big or too dark, because it just doesn't look natural. The other thing is, of course, when we are closer and we draw the portrait and person really has big lashes and thick, we will draw it, but just don't draw them if someone is standing far away at the back with those big eyelashes, like
Oh my God!
Often the reason of drawing in this way is that most people draw from the photo. So on the photo, on the phone, you can zoom and you can see every single hair, freckle, everything, and you try to drawing this. And it just doesn't look like this in real life. When you try to draw someone from the real life, you're 2 meters away from the person, and then you realize you can't see the eyelashes or any details, and you just see the shadow and basic shapes of the face. So often you just don't draw the eyelashes, or just you draw the bare minimum, so the shadow or just few lashes, but nothing too crazy. Okay, now we move to the second example, and I really wanted to show you how to draw Asian eyes because the shape is really different. Other steps are very similar, maybe eyelashes are different, they grow down more, but the shape of the eye is really important to get it correctly. So the eyelid covers part of the eye so that it looks a little bit different to us. And what I did also to have similar eye size to the first drawing, I just copied the proportions from there, but I started the same way. So it's nice at this point. As you can see, I have the basic outline of the eye. Just walk for 5 to 10 minutes don't look at this drawing, and just then come back and see if the shape is correct, if the iris is in correct place, if she doesn't look weirdly, because you probably won't see this if you draw it straight away. So take some time. Also, what is different with Asian eyes is that the iris will be much darker, so I just use much more this softer pencil, and I started by shading the eyelid, which is under this big eyelid. I don't know how to explain it differently, but yeah, I just start with really dark shading around this and also on the crease, and then erase it with this pencil eraser, which is really precise, and it creates this like fold of the skin. The same way you can draw material and stuff like this, it is very effective way of drawing creases and a realistic skin. So that's how I do it, and I think it looks quite good. So yeah, you can you can copy this. Yeah, so that's how it looks. And also, as I told you, the lashes grow down, so you can actually see them on the like white part of the eye. This is very often seen in Asian eyes. And now I am doing the second eye the same way I did this one. And once again, the eyelids aren't the same size. I wanted to correct them a little bit, but as you can see on the photo, like she doesn't have very symmetrical eyes anyway. And the eyebrows are a bit different than the previous one because they are much the arch is much bigger and they are higher, so you can see more of the eyelid, and the space between the eye and the eyebrow is much bigger. Okay, now I want to show you men's eye, and if there is such a thing, I correlate men's eye with eyes which are located deeper in the skull, like in the eye socket, so they look a little bit different. Of course, it doesn't have to be the man eye, but that's just my like thinking, like okay. And also, often the brows are larger and located lower. Here I am correcting actually the brow. So that's what I am thinking, and that's what I wanted to show you. And what I do differently here, of course, the proportions are the same as in previous eyes. I told you this is really important proportion to remember and to think about. The shading. The eyes are located deeper in the eye socket, so the shadow is also stronger. That's why I put much more shadow in the inner corners of the eye and the skin and around the nose. Also, you can see that I actually located the eyes too close to each other. I just didn't see this before, so yeah, I needed to correct it later on, but you can see nobody is perfect if you draw this with me. If you don't get the results you wanted to at first, well, you need to do many drawings till you learn it, and the fact that it doesn't come out beautifully the first time, it means that you can do this, but maybe you need to draw, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 of those eyes or portraits till you get better at it. So I hope it is not discouraging. I think anyone can learn it, so yeah, sky is the limit, and that's how it looks. I actually had some problems with drawing the like edge of the face with the hair because it looked very weird for a long period of time, but after a few corrections I think it turned out great. So yeah, guys, that's how it looks. I really like how I presented it. You can do this the same way or draw it on separate pieces of paper. It doesn't really matter, you know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you liked my drawings, and if you did, please consider staying with me for a little longer. I hope you learned something today, and I will see you in the next one very soon.